Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Godlike Naruto Went to the Marvel Universe. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of what is coming your way over on Anime King and Anime King 3 guys. Yes, that's correct. I indeed have 3 channels and making 2 and making 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. Links will be down in the description, and I also have anime prints. So go ahead and check out that guys. All of the links will be down there. So go ahead and enjoy. And remember to turn on the bell notification so you can see exactly when I post. So without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro. So, the last part that we left off. Natasha was on her search as she tried to find Naruto. However, having no such luck, she decided to venture towards a section of Vegas that she had to strap up for. As she packed her weapons and made her way down there was a good chance that she might come across a battle down there. It was owned by the Italian mobsters, as they basically owned the underground of the entire place. Arriving there, the problem was she had killed the son of the mobster. However, the man understood that it was a contract job and she was used by a person, but she wouldn't give up her employer, but this time she will if he, tell her what she needed as she showed him a photo of Naruto. He was able to watch a fight as he showed her the recordings as she took a tape for herself. And she told him that it was his own family that asked for the death of his son, hoping that he would retire afterwards because he wanted to take over. As with that, she left. She went back to the hotel as she called Nick Fury. As she sent him the video, they were able to analyze it, and from what they saw, Naruto was far stronger than Cap. Judging from the video specs, he was far stronger than Captain America, faster and stronger as well. So Natasha went on her search once again. However, while that was going on, Naruto went towards Bellagio. Arriving towards the location, Naruto started out gambling, as his luck was there once again. By the time he was racking the money up, he reached 1 million within a couple of games, as he kept on playing until the people wanted him to leave. Because Naruto was cleaning all of them out, he was then approached by a rather large man, who told him that the boss of this place wanted to play a personal game with him, so Naruto was directed towards the top. As Natasha saw who it was Happy, personal guard of Tony Stark, as that man would die for him, and whenever Happy was there, Tony was not too far behind. So it was with that Nick Fury told her to abandon this for the moment. After all, Howard Stark was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they were going to keep Tony out of it and protect him from the shadows. As Fury sent Natasha towards where Barton and Clint was, unaware that the suspect that they were looking for was none other than Naruto, as he was everything in this. While that was going on, at a temple, the Ancient One, the one that they called that because of her long years of serving, as she was the leader of the mystical arts at location, had a vision as she dived into the future. She saw nothing but death and destruction, half of the universe being wiped away, as she saw a spectral golden fox. As she decided to make some changes, knowing that if she did not do something, it will be detrimental and so much will die. However, someone has arrived that will change the very course of history and the timeline. At the moment, she was not aware who exactly he was though, but that fox had something to do with it and she knew it. Meanwhile, Naruto ended up meeting Tony Stark, but he had no idea who he was. That deflated Tony's ego a bit. He also met Elon Musk, Floyd Mayweather, and Kobe Bryant. As Naruto sat down with them, Just as expected, Naruto's luck was immense as the others end up leaving. The next morning, Tony woke up feeling groggy as Pepper wake him up. She asked him what the hell happened last night. It turns out that he and an individual destroyed a very big crime boss, and they were all over the news. Tony tried to remember, as he and Naruto were the only one left, as we dive into a flashback. But Tony refused to give up as he ended up losing a lot of money, not to mention he also lost the option of not being able to help Naruto, as he was gonna have to teach him about computer and all that stuff, as Naruto wanted to learn about it as well. As Tony agrees, him and Naruto sat down and have a drink afterwards, as they talk. As Naruto was talking about Pepper as well, it seems like Tony had a thing for her, but he denied that. That is when Naruto remembered a guy told him to call someone if he was low on cash. It turns out that the man was funneling problems into the hotel that Tony owned, so they went downstairs and they got the video feed from the person at the check-in door. So with that, Naruto and Tony went there towards the location. Arriving there, Tony pulled out 2 guns. However, Naruto told him to not kill anyone, that he will handle it, he should just stay behind. As Naruto activates his all-powerful dojutsu, that can do everything that the Sharingan, the Rinnegan, the Byakugan, all that can do, the Tensei gun. As he looks to the building, seeing all of the enemies inside, as him and Tony proceed to make their way towards the location. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the playthrough of yourself. So what do you say, without wasting any more time, we jump right into this new episode, guys. Pepper was angry. So you're telling me that you went in there with him, and you're the one that wanted to go. What if you were hurt, or worse, killed? Well, I'm not that hurt, am I? Tony said, as he checked his body over for any injuries. He only saw a small gash by his temple. Besides, you should have seen Naruto. The guy is a literal force of nature. He took them all out. Maybe I should hire him as a bodyguard. He's like a one-man army. What? No, said Pepper. You and that guy got into more trouble than I can even imagine. My hair is turning white just thinking about it, she said. Tony started to laugh nervously, as Pepper got a bad feeling as she stopped pacing. What did you do? She asked. You remember the final bet, said Tony, looking at her nervously. Yes, said Pepper. Well, it's not only the 3 favors I gave him. I also will give him a room in the LA. And engineer and computer lessons, said Tony, cautiously. What? Pepper screeched. She sat down next to Tony and she took a deep breath. Just continue where you left off, she said, holding her head. Yeah, sure. Flashback. Ricardo Falcone is a high position in the member of the Bianchi family. Although not related to the Bianchi family, his father was one of the first outsiders who joined the crime family. His father's resourcefulness and loyalty allowed him to rise through the family ranks rather quickly. He had inherited the loan shark gig from his father and allowed it to grow into a profitable family venture. Ricardo would always be loyal to the Bianchis. That is why he orders men not to join into the feud that was going on between Vinny and Giovanni. He would usually join Vinny camp, since Giovanni went against everything that a family stood for, hiring an assassin to kill the man's own son. But the family need to survive the aftermath. Whatever happened between the brothers, the family would need capital to recover, and bringing everyone to clash against this would just tear the whole family apart. The damage would be too much for them to recover after that. That is his reason, and that is what he told the 2 when they called for supports. They really cannot question his loyalty because he's been loyal from day 1. He slept in one of the family bases to make sure that if someone retaliated for him not joining either side, he would be far away from his family as possible. He had an 8-man guard protection. However, the thing was, it was not a hostile Bianchi family member that came for him. And in this situation, his guards can't really do anything against his force of nature that was coming. Ricardo's eyes were glued towards the clock as he waited for it to strike 2. That is when the Bianchi brothers would meet up, and the family fate will be decided. He was lounging on the sofa when someone knocked on the door. Everyone tensed as the guards immediately draw their weapons. The knocking continued until One of the guys close to the door peeped through the eye hole of the door, and he saw a blonde guy with shades, wearing a hood, standing there. As the guard walked over towards the boss, there's some blonde guy on the other side of the door, early 20s, I believe. Check what you want, said Ricardo. Just be prepared for anything. As the guard nodded, he made his way towards the door and unlocked it. As he made sure to hold his weapon. What do you want, he said. Hi, said Naruto in a cheery tone. I'm looking for Ricardo Falcone. As the guard held his pistol right behind the door, ready to kill this guy if he did anything wrong. There is no one here by that name. Now leave, the guard said. As he closed the door, he walked toward his boss. He's looking for you. I sent him away. Good. We don't want any distraction tonight, said Ricardo. However, there was a knock once again. The guard, now pissed off, made his way towards the door. However, before he could reach, the door burst open. The guard was near as he rushed towards Naruto. However, Naruto hit him 3 times in his stomach as he disabled the man as the man collapsed down to the ground. Everyone turned their weapons towards Naruto as he grinned. You're in my field of definition, he said. As he moved in, his speed seemed unnatural as he hit everyone, including Ricardo. As he took them all out by hitting them in their points, he then dragged them and lined them up against the wall. You can come in now, said Naruto. As Tony came in, he was peeping the entire time and he saw everything that happened. He was pretty sure his gun wouldn't be able to do anything from this distance. What he can't understand was how did Naruto paralyze everyone with a few pokes here and there. That didn't seem to be possible. As Tony came in, holy shit, that's Ricardo Falcone. That's a big catch. Tony did not expect some of the big guys to be here. Yep, can you check the cabinet for files or anything incriminating? Take a photo of everything if you can, and call the cops before we leave, said Naruto. As Tony nodded. However, he mumbled something about not being the psychic here. Tony proceeded to lay out every document he could find on the table before he started to take photos of them. While Tony was doing that, Naruto opened some points on Falcone so he could answer some questions. Where's your boss? Naruto asked. Falcone kept his mouth shut, knowing that some guy like this guy going after Vinny during this time could collapse the entire family. As Naruto realized that he was not talking, torture is frowned upon in this world. So he decided to go for a bit of subtle gesture by applying a small game due to make him more cooperative. Due to the atrophy of chakra network in the residents of this world, the hypnosis was extremely powerful as Falcone could even put up a fight against the genjutsu. I'm going to ask once again, where's your boss? Said Naruto. He's in an abandoned warehouse north of the city, where the underground fights usually happen, said Falcone. He did not add the part about the Bianchi family showdown, because he was not specifically asked about it after all. As Naruto knocked him out as he made his way towards Tony. You done here? He asked. Yeah, just about. Can't believe the dirt on these guys. And it's just one side of the business, Tony said, as he fixed the files on the table. As he proceeded to text a contact that he had in the FBI and send the photos and everything, the location. As they returned back to the car. We should go to the warehouse district, said Naruto. Do you know the address of their base there? If not, I can guide you, said Naruto. Yeah, one of their bases around there, Tony said as he started the car. As he drove north, even though I didn't do much back there. What we did was fun, he said. What are you saying? You did most of the work. I just beat those guys down, said Naruto. As they were closing on the warehouse. Pull over, said Naruto. Tony was confused. Why do you want me to stop here? We're still 2 blocks away, he said. We might encounter guards outside since your boss is there. It is easier to sneak in on foot rather than drive in this huge car, where we would be instantly noticed. As Naruto could see all of them from where they were, as he quickly formed a plan in his head how to handle this with the least amount of casualties, and also to keep Tony safe as well. So with that, they got out of the car as they took to the shadows, as Naruto was still on point as Tony followed behind him. Here's the plan, said Naruto. I want you to find a way to get on top of the warehouse and go down the catwalk. I'm going to cause a distraction. Once you see it, fire your weapon. After that, hang tight and enjoy the show, said Naruto. with a grin. Tony had no idea why would Naruto plan something like that. But after seeing how he operated, he decided to trust him. However, he had a question. What's the distraction, he asks. You will know when you see it, said Naruto. As Tony nodded the vague answer. As the both of them split, Tony used the staircase over towards the side that was strapped to the fire exit. As he climbed it up, he had to say he was enjoying this. As he went straight up towards the skylight and dropped down towards the catwalk. As Tony was surprised when he saw this scene inside the warehouse. Now he understands Naruto's plan a lot better. As there was two groups there, with the two older guys leading the groups. They looked like they were discussing something calmly, but there was an underground tension that could be seen, as the people there seemed rather nervous. While he was looking over, he finally understood what the distraction was. A thick white smoke was rolling in from every corner of the building, coming around. Tony had no idea how Naruto did that, however it was effective. He raised his gun as he fired, as all hell broke loose. The sound of gunfire prompted everyone to start pulling their weapons and fire out. The two older guys were protected as they were grabbed and pulled away by their guards pretty fast. As a bullet flew past Tony, as one of them came towards him, he backpedaled as he hit his head right on the metal plate next to him, as he was knocked out cold. As Naruto flashed beside him, he was keeping an eye on Tony the entire time. He saw the bullet, but he knew that it would not hit him, but the human reaction caused Tony to step back and slip, and he hit his head. As Naruto checked his vitals, he was alive. He was just out cold. As Naruto rested him down a safe distance before he looked down, there were 15 people still able to fight. The two leaders were hiding behind two large crates. As Naruto jumped, his feet touched the ground, but there wasn't even a sound as he moved. As he tipped and tapped, hitting each member, knocking them unconscious. He was like a literal ghost, unseen, unheard. As he moved through the warehouse, no one could catch him or even catch a glimpse. Once all of the guards are either knocked out or dead, Naruto went toward the two older men, as he also take them out as well. They were unconscious though as he dragged them towards the center of the room. However, he heard the sirens. It seems that the cops overheard or were called by the gunshots. As Naruto proceeded to leap on top of the building as he picked up Tony, as well as his guns, as he flashed away and appeared beside the car. As Naruto did not know how to drive, however, he just sealed the car away. He then proceeded to Sunshin all the way back towards the Bellagio. He unsealed the car back in towards the warehouse, before he found Tony's room and left him on the bed, as he locked the door. As Naruto proceeded to make his way towards the penthouse door. What a night, he said, the smile on his face. I think I earned myself a little ramen, he thought, as he made his way to find where the best ramen is served in the city. In the flashback. That's all I remember, said Tony, as he recalled up to the point that he was knocked out. Where is Naruto anyway, he said, as he was looking around. Pepper doing the same, as they made their way. I don't know, she said. I didn't saw anyone when I came here 2 hours ago. Happy is missing as well, said Tony. He's with Joey and the feds, giving their statements. Don't worry, your lawyer is there as well, with them. Just let them tell the truth, said Tony, with a smirk on his face. That two guys stood down. One of the biggest empire crime family in Vegas that no one else can. Pepper took a deep, calming sigh. You will work this out with their lawyer before you give a statement, she said. And I'm going to find this friend of yours, she said. Tony looked behind her. No need. He's right there. As Pepper turned as she saw the blue-eyed blonde-haired guy eating a cup of noodles with chopsticks. What pissed her off even more was the carefree attitude that he was laying back with. You, she said, pointing at Naruto. Me, he said, pointing at himself as well. Yes, you. What do you have to say for yourself? Dragging my boss around town to bring down a mob, she said. As Naruto tilted his head as he looked her up and down before he turned towards Tony, and a small grin came on his face. Tony felt a shiver went down his spine, seeing that grin. Oh, you must be Pepper, said Naruto as he extended his hand. As Pepper shook his hand, getting swept by his friendly demeanor. Did Tony finally ask you out on a date? That's why you're here, right? Tony proceeded to spat out his coffee as he heard Naruto question. Time skip. Natasha just landed on the roof of the SHIELD headquarters in New York City office. She had barely slept along the way. The stress of a possible alien on the loose and to be discovered, and not to mention a superhuman in Vegas, it was weighing heavily on her mind. When she got off the Quinjet, she was expecting Barton or Coulson to meet up with her, but what she didn't expect was to see Nick Fury there as well. Didn't expect to see you here, sir, she said, greeting her boss, as she gave a small nod to Barton and Coulson. Let's get inside. I'll talk along the way, said Fury as he walked towards the roof entrance. I was not expecting to be here as well, but I got an interesting call around 2 hours ago. But first, I want you to tell them about what you find on your brief vacation, said Fury. Natasha immediately knew that the call was directed towards Naruto. What the hell could he have done in the span of a 5-hour flight to make him get on SHIELD radar already? I was on my way to Vegas to take a break after my mission in LA when I came across a guy walking on the 105. What? You picked up someone? I didn't know that you got it in you, said Barton, as he teased her, as that was their usual banter, seeing that Fury didn't even question it. Shut up, Clint, she said, or I'm going to tell Laura about Tbilisi, she said, as Clint went quiet at that. Anyway, the guy had nothing on him except for his clothes. According to him, he just moved to the US, traveling around. He lost his stuff as he was going to go to Vegas to try and win some money. But what got my attention was he told me that he was a freelance contractor. So your first hitchhiker is a contract killer. Good to know, Romanhoff, said Coulson, as he already deduced that the situation was not that bad given that Fury was not given the report. You shut up too. I can still key Lola. As a smile slipped from Coulson's face instantly when he heard that. When we left our separate ways, I got to digging, but nothing on the guy came up in our available database. Damn, he must be good, said Barton. So I got a bit reckless and I made a contact with the Bianchis. They both looked towards her, about to say something for her to be reckless as she raised her hand. I made sure I had leverage before I went in there. But either way, I got more than I thought. As they arrived in a briefing room, to emphasize her point, she projected a fight on the wall to show them. As you can see, I was proven right to be worried about him. He's good, said Coulson as he looked towards the clip. This part you won't like, Coulson, said Natasha. SHIELD Tech analyzed the video. The results show that he is better, or at least physically, than Captain. Captain who, Coulson said, not getting a statement, as Natasha pointed towards a flag outside the room. His face instantly pale. Someone was able to recreate the serum, he said. Captain America has always been his hero. Learning that someone somewhere had somehow recreated the serum was a massive news for him. No, not that we're aware of. I was gonna make contact with him in the Bellagio, but Tony Stark got his hand on him first. How? Said Barton. Apparently, he's an excellent poker player, and Stark heard about it, so he invited him to his poker game, said Natasha. Thank you for the report, Romanoff, Fury said. Report has come in that almost all of the high-level and low-level members of the Bianchi crime family has been arrested. Don't tell me it's Naruto, said Natasha. Who's Naruto? Another ghost, said Coulson, as you remember a SHIELD special op that was able to phase through objects because of her partial ability to become invincible. No, Naruto is the guy I found in Vegas, said Natasha. Your boyfriend did that. Man, he's hardcore, said Barton. He is not my boyfriend. Where the hell in my report did you get that? Said Natasha. Said Fury, clearing his throat. As much as I would like to get involved in Natasha's romantic life, she gave him a stink eye at that. We have to get back on topic. Yes, Naruto was one of the people that took down the Bianchi crime family. One of them? Said Coulson. Yes, apparently. He brought a civilian along for the fun. He took along a junk, Tony Stark, with him. Coulson and Barton eyes widened as they start to laugh. What the both of them wouldn't give to see that guy take a junk in Stark to take down a crime family. That is quite the event for the ages. Natasha, on the other hand, started to bang her head on the table. All of that happened in the span of the 5 hours that she was gone. Maybe she should have taken that Vegas vacation after all. Then she wouldn't have that problem now to deal with. I sent a team to monitor the situation. If Stark army of lawyers cannot manage to deal with this, then I would make some move. For the other reason why you're here, as he turned towards Coulson before continuing. I want everything that you have about 083. I have a meeting with POTUS and JCS, and they want to update about the event. They're also going to show me something that could be related to 083. Apparently, it is for eyes only. As Fury start to walk out of the room, oh, before I forget, Naruto Uzumaki has suddenly appeared in our database. You might want to look into this, he said. As he proceeded to walk out, as Natasha groaned. Why can't things be simple, she thought to herself. Naruto probably found a high-class forger in Vegas. Normal forger would not show in their database because there would be no paper trail. Bianchi probably know who's the best forger in Vegas, but for now that will have to wait. As Natasha turned towards the two men and asked, You want to catch me up on what is going on here, she said. Time skip. Camera touch. Ancient One. The three guests bowed in front of her as a sign of respect. Good. You're all here, have a seat. The Ancient One said as she pointed towards three pillows on the other side of the table. The table had tea and biscuits. As she poured them all a cup of tea, each of them took a sip as usual. Let's get down to business, shall we, she said. Let me start with the most important news. Master Pangborn, she said. Yes, Ancient One, said Jonathan Pangborn. Jonathan Pangborn is a 6'2", medium-built, 30-year-old Caucasian man. He had came to Kamantaj after an accident in the factory that he worked for that rendered him paralyzed from the waist down. As he came to Kamantaj, in hopes of being able to walk again, the Ancient One had tested him and accepted him as a student and started to teach him in the arts of the mystical arts. This which allow him to use his legs once more. You're able to use your legs again in the fullest, am I right? She asked him, as Pangborn nodded. When are you going to leave the order, if I might ask, she said. Of course she already knew due to the power of the eye. However, the conversation would be more natural if Pangborn was the one to lay out his plans. He looked shocked at that news, as well as Caecilius and Mordo. As Mordo felt well betrayed that someone would willingly leave the order after they achieved their goals. Around a year from now, Master, Pangborn said. Good, she said to him. Now that confused him a bit as he looked at her. They would have thought that she would be against him leaving. But not good enough. I want you to leave immediately, she said. That shocked them even further. May I ask why, Master? Pangborn said, as the Ancient One simply smiled. As she enjoyed drawing out these reactions. Being centuries old, entertainment was hard to find. For your final mission, of course, she said. As he drawing a breath, hearing something that to reassure him. He really didn't want to be on the Ancient One wrong side, as you would leave the order anyway. I have a last mission for you, she said. I want you to gather information, anything that you can, on anyone or anything. The more powerful, the better, she said. It will be done, Master. May I ask why? And when should I leave? Pangborn said. Yes, you may. But I won't reveal the answers until I have identified who or what it is, she said. As for when, I ask that you leave soon after the gathering. Bring your items with you. You won't have to come back here unless I call for you, she said. Pangborn bowed his head as he got to his feet as he started to walk away. Find the golden fox. It is the only clue I could find, she said. He nodded and left, as Caecilius and Mordo was standing there waiting now. Now that is done, as she turned towards Caecilius. Once the gathering has come to an end, I want you to go over records for any mention of a yellow fox, she said. Caecilius was a man 6 feet tall, broad build, 40 years old. He came to Kamantaj with the help of Carl Mordo. Mordo was the one that introduced Caecilius to the Ancient One, for him to understand the grief that he had after he had lost his wife and his son. As much as she hated the coming of Dormammu, is a central event in the future that will ensure that Strange step up as a sorcerer supreme. The demon would be the follower from this world to weaken the shields. And most likely the candidates is still Caecilius. Ordering him to look into the library will lead him to encounter the history of Dormammu. His grief and discontent will lead him towards demon's power, and he will start the whole event. Yes, Master, Caecilius said. The Ancient One waved her hand, indicating that he was dismissed. As she looked towards Mordo, she was thinking about which approach would make him less betray the Order in the future. He is one of the most promising students that she ever had. 5 feet 10 inches, border built, 45-year-old, African Englishman. He came to Kamantoj, hoping to acquire power to get revenge, however, under her tutelage. He started to find a peaceful way. Deciding on her plan, she waved her hand as she materialized a journal in front of her. This is one of my summarized journals. I write one every century when I'm alive, to keep my track on events. I want you to read it, she said as she slid towards him. Ask any question anytime. I will try to answer it to the best of my ability, she said. Showing him her choices from the point of his view would probably lessen his chance of betraying the Order in the future. However, she was not certain about that because the yellow fox would cross his path. Mordo picked up the journal as he bowed deeply. Thank you for giving me the chance to read this, Master, he said. Let me warn you, this does not mean that you will be the next Sorcerer Supreme. I still think your talents are better suited for other endeavors. I understand, Master, he said, as he gritted his teeth lightly. The Ancient One has been telling him this for quite some time now, but he still don't understand why she won't give him the mantle. It's time for the gathering, she said. I am quite excited to talk about the future. And she was smiling brightly. Time skip, Bellagio, Hotel Casino, Las Vegas, Nevada. In conclusion, Mr. Tony Stark and his accomplice has breaking no laws in their action against the Bianchi family. Instead, they have done the city a great service by removing one of the city blight to society. The spokesperson of Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department continued with his speech on live TV. Tony, Pepper, Happy, and finally Naruto had just come back after the two had given their statement, and now they were eating fast food, watching television. Tony's army of lawyers had straightened out the situation with the police, discouraging them of filing any charges against Tony, and in extension Naruto as well. Pepper also did her job rather well, as she made it look like Tony was a hero fighting against the underground enemy. Well, in a way he did. Well, he actually did. The news about it skyrocketed his popularity among the masses. His reputation had sidelined Naruto, however, that's the way he wanted it. As he realized that everything that he do too flashy can be found out by the world. Their camera phones, it quickly moved towards the internet and then it was all over the place. Happy was still a bit upset that what happened because he was not there. He can't even really get mad because Naruto did one hell of a job keeping Tony safe. On the other hand, Pepper was still pissed off at both of them. However, she was more so pissed off at Naruto because he was the one who was the reason why Tony went to fight against the mob in the first place. Another source of her annoyance was Naruto was still pushing for the both of them to get together. However, he only did it while they were alone. The worst part about it was that it was working, as she was starting to imagine how it would be like with Tony in a romantic capacity. The only thing stopping her is that she knew that Tony's personality would be counterproductive in a long-term relationship. If she wants to have the relationship that she wants with him, some part of his character would have to change, especially the playboy lifestyle. As Naruto's question was still bouncing around Tony's mind, thinking about him and Pepper, until they were grey and old with their family all around them. Pepper noticed a blank stare on Tony's face as he was just looking at the wall. She nudged him. Are you alright? She said. Yeah, I'm fine, he said, placating her, just thinking about stuff. As she didn't believe him for a second as she glanced towards Naruto, who was eating another bowl of ramen. How could someone eat so much of that stuff anyway? It seemed impossible. As Tony glanced over towards Naruto as he remembered. Hey Naruto, he said, as Naruto turned noodles hanging from his mouth. I was thinking of going back to LA tomorrow. Are you coming? He said. As they all remember the bet of Naruto staying at the Malibu house. as Pepper was hoping that it didn't happen. It will make their life a lot more complicated. Happy is still watching, interested in hiring Naruto in some capacity. I'm not going to stay for a while, I still have some traveling to do, said Naruto. Tony just nodded as he was happy about that, secretly relieved because he wanted to talk to Pepper first about Naruto's suggestion without the extra complications there. As Pepper was thinking the same thing. As a matter of fact, I think I'll be leaving tonight, said Naruto. I'll just take 100 million with me. As for the rest, I think I'll buy some shares in your company, said Naruto. Pepper can handle that, said Tony, as she was already typing away in her phone, listing out the plans. Just call ahead before going to LA. There might be no one there if you just stroll in. Don't be too sad, old man, said Naruto. I'll drop by soon. Tony groaned as he rolled his eyes. It would be a rather interesting experience being close to Naruto after all. Oh yeah, he says. He pulled out 3 papers as he handed one to each of them. If you guys are ever in trouble, like a life and death situation, just tear that paper. And I'll be by in a flash, he said. Time skip, White House, Washington DC. Fury hated being in the White House, even if he used a secret entrance. The place was still one of the most publicest places in the entire world. And he feels so exposed being here. He didn't like it one bit. He headed straight inside the room, not even notifying the guards. He walked in. Arriving inside, the director of the both CIA and FBI was in there. The president was there as well. The chairman. The secretary of defense. All of them was around the table. The first one was President Alan Trumbull. A 6'2", middle-aged built, 68-year-old man. African American. He's the first non-white president to be ever elected into office. Relatively clean man. Contrast to most other politicians. General Joseph, the Viper, the chief of staff. He was 6 foot tall, muscular man, 50 years old, Caucasian. As he was a brilliant dictator in the war. As throughout the war he got notified by 2 when he earned his moniker. As that made him a rather brilliant commander in his forces. Then there was John Voight. He was Secretary of Defense. 6'2", bulky, white-haired man. He was 6'6", Caucasian. Unlike the former Secretary of Defenses, he has never joined the military. He only worked as a specialty of consoling. And then there was the Director of CIA, Alan Hunley. He was a primary rival of Fury. 47, Caucasian man. 6 feet, large build. The CIA was always a bit jealous of SHIELD resources, as most of the other agencies believed that it was just a spy overhyped agency that deal with the weird stuff. The director of the FBI, on the other hand, was still doing some field ops from time to time. 6'1", lean muscle, 40-year-old, brown-haired Caucasian man. SEAL Joseph Booth was a former Army Ranger who joined the FBI after he had enough of the violence. He vowed to catch as many criminals as he had killed. As Fury walked over as he sat down in the chair that was open for him, Trumbull lifted a folder in his hand. I have here in my hand the only thing that is left that can be a threat to national security, he said. You cannot make a copy of anything in this file. Reserve your questions for later. At 8:45 2 days ago, a pair of technicians at the Edward Air Force noticed an anomaly in their experimental machines. As Fury sat back and listened to the information that was being given out, they were giving off the same thing that the 2 agents had found with the God Eye. It was about Naruto, however, Fury did not know that yet. However, the information and the location got Fury mind working a mile a minute as the man kept on talking. However, when the president said that the man was connected to the event in New York with the light, given the location and the proximity, as the God Eye was able to calculate and triangulate the proper distance that it took and how the man appeared, he turned towards Fury. I want SHIELD to take point, since it's their specialization. Everyone here will help them find out more about the man. CIA leader was a bit disgruntled at that, but he nodded as well. As Fury opened the file that he got, the first thing he saw was a goddamn picture. And it shot the literal hell out of him. As you could see the discomfort on his face, the president noticed that. "What are you thinking, Fury?" he said. "I need to call my team and send one to Vegas," he said, lying smoothly, as he calmed his face, as the president looked at him, as he just gave up on trying to question more of the man, remembering how his and Fury's skills are different in certain areas. The president nodded and dismissed them, as Fury was shocked as hell, but he was indeed gonna call Romanoff, because Naruto was a goddamn alien. Time skip. At Kamen-Dodge, a short walk towards the main training ground, the Ancient One saw. It was full of elders, masters, and apprentices. Mordo walked forward and lined up with the other masters, as the Ancient One couldn't help but smile, as the order had grew from 50 to 1,500 since her time now. Although she used the power of the enemy to unnaturally increase her life force. Seeing this, knew that it was worth it, she knew it. Through all of the years that she has been leading the order, a gathering of this size had never happened before. As she walked towards a podium that was high above them, as the people were excited to hear. "Elders, masters, apprentices," she said, "I have ordered this gathering to announce the new track the order will take," she said. "The order is formed as a first and last defense against the mystic and supernatural. We made sure that the world that we live in remains safe. We have done this mission flawlessly. The world still stands as a whole, doesn't it?" A few laughter and giggling went through the crowd. She then lifted the eye in the air to show everyone. "Our first Sorcerer Supreme created this artifact, the Eye of Agamotto. Reading about the history in the library, you will know that the Eye used a more powerful artifact. The heart is the Time Stone." As she opened the iris of the eye, showing the green, glowing mist, a solid manifestation of one of the aspects of the universe. This gave the user the capability of manipulating time. She knew that disclosing this information will cause problems in the future, but it will make her plan more accepted. "I only use most of the power in this stone in the most dire circumstances, except for the one I use every day at noon, the ability to see the future." As murmurs spread through the audience, "I religiously look into the future to see my end every time. Until this session I had this noon, I did not see my death, unlike the others. For the first time I saw the life beyond it, and I saw the death and the ending of half of the universe." Shock and fear could be seen on the people's faces. "The power to wipe out half of all life is truly terrifying," she said. "But we are here, and we have the power to stop it, or undo it. Whatever we might need to do." That lifted their spirit a bit. "What I want is for the order to grow in number and skill. We have to have as much power before it happens, and if we fail to stop it, after as well." One particular elder raised his hand to ask a question that everyone was thinking about. As she acknowledged him, "How much time do we have?" he said. 13 years, she said to him. Apprentice typically only become a master after they have studied for 20 years and trained. Only a select few can do it in less than 15 years. Mordo was one of those examples as he did it in only 9 years. And Kamen-Dodge only get about 10 to 50 applicants a year. To recruit more and make them combat ready in 13 years would require dedication from everyone. I know you all feel the weight of our daunting tasks, but have no fear. We have no other recourse but forward or death will befall the universe, she said. Time skip, Las Vegas, Nevada. As Naruto sat on a bench by the side of the road, just watching and observing the world around him. The people and environment was still a bit of a shock to him, but he got to say that he was adjusting just fine. He guessed this hobby had to be developed because being mortal mean a lot of waiting around. The visuals are organizing the reports in his head from the clones that were sending back information from all over the world, giving him knowledge on many things. What's next, kid? Say grammar. Traveling first. I want to see what we're dealing with. Japan seemed to be the perfect place to start. It seemed to have a lot of similarities with our world. Yeah, it seems like it, said Kurama. You notice a tail, right? Of course, said Naruto. They're really sloppy. Can't even hide their presence, said Naruto. Shield had sent 2 recon packages to Stark and Naruto to make sure Nothing can get past them. A rapid response team was also placed on standby after the Bianchi family thing, as the group had broken off when they saw Naruto left, unknowing that he had the 1 million cash sealed away. As Naruto pulled out the folded world map in his pants, as he started to look over it, he had marked on a few places already. The map was large enough because the place was large. This world was quite hectic. As for the people watching him, Agent Richard Rogers, he was one of the best their team was in the US, so they had no idea why they were sent for this op, watching some playboy and a kid. His team is following Naruto Uzumaki, one of them. They had lost him once, and that was during the Bianchi family disaster. Their bosses gave them some dressing down, but overall, well, it could have been worse. They watched as he pulled out a piece of paper and he started to go over it, as he couldn't see what it was. He folded it up before he started to go down the alleyway. As they slowly went after him, a gust of wind picked up and covered the camera that you're watching him with. A piece of newspaper, once the paper was gone, and it only took a split second, he was gone. As this was confusing as hell. Looking around, he was nowhere to be seen. This is Oculus Main. Come in, Oculus One. Confirm visuals on Whiskers, Roger said. Negative, Oculus One. 1 through 5. Already searching, the voice in the other head said. Acknowledge. Continue the search, said Roger. After 30 minutes. This is Oculus One. Target lost. Orders. Return to stage 1, Roger said. As he slumped about losing the target once again, as he had to report back into his boss. Meanwhile, the Bellagio Hotel. Tony and Pepper went to dinner into one of the restaurants, and they drank 4 bottles of wine between the two of them. Happy said that he will be doing something, so he won't be able to join them. Looks like he got himself a date, and Naruto had already left. So they were here alone. That's a relief. I can finally relax a bit. Hey, he's not that bad, said Tony, defending Naruto. As Pepper gave him a look. Okay, maybe he is, but he's sure is fun to be around. Fun for you maybe, but trouble for me, she said. I still can't believe you two. Tote down a mob, she said. We're just awesome that way, said Tony with a grin. Pepper only gave him one of those looks once again. As Tony said to himself, you should have seen him, he said, placating her. He took down 8 guys before a coin could even drop. That may be, but you barely have any experience in combat. Only a theoretical and controlled environment. You shouldn't have been there, she said. There was a lull in the conversation, as the messages that Naruto implanted in your head by asking the questions that he did, it came popping back up now. As Pepper saw Tony start to move as she knew, it's not gonna work. What's not gonna work? You know, don't deny it, she said. As he looked at her, why, he said. Cause I cannot handle a relationship with someone I don't know. Will stay with me through everything, she said. I can be that guy, said Tony. Not from what I saw. You never had a long-term relationship, and most of them are one-night stands. I don't want to be another notch in your post. For God's sake, you introduce yourself as a billionaire, playboy, genius, philanthropist. Tony was a bit silent as he agreed most of what she said, but he was not deterred. I never really thought the idea of us being together before Naruto arrived, but after he placed that idea in my head, I guess I just can't stop thinking about it. As he looked directly at her, it's the first time I imagine myself being with someone, growing old, having a family, he said. I want you to give me a chance. To prove I can get better, he said. I want you to give us a chance, he said. As Pepper had a tear running from her left eye, as Tony looked down and closed his eyes, her resolve to say no is breaking down. Tony's scenario was the same as her own. After a long while she spoke. 6 months. Causing Tony to look up, not understanding. You have 6 months to prove that you can withstand a long-term relationship, as she got up and marched towards her room. As Tony watched her leave with a smile on his face. As he made his way towards the bar, he really cut down his drinking. I'm gonna kill him! He heard a yell as he rushed towards Pepper's room. However, arriving there he saw the place was covered in peppers, from the ceiling to the bed to everywhere. As Tony started to laugh, knowing who was behind this already. She gave him a glare. 6 months, she said, as he immediately shut up. Time skip, New York. Natasha was frozen in her seat in the cafe. She had dragged both Barton and Coulson to have a better breakfast than just takeout and coffee. She answered when Fury called her on the phone. Before she could say a single word, he told her something that got her shocked. Naruto is the alien. As she was still on the phone, Romanoff, are you still there? Yes, boss, she said. Just was a bit taken back by that. Wait for a second, we're outside, she said. Who's there with you? Coulson and Clint, she said. Good. I want you to put me on speaker when you get somewhere safe. As they made their way towards the car, checking their surroundings, Coulson was on the driver right side, Barton passenger side. As Natasha got in the back, as she connected her phone to the speaker. You're on speaker, boss, she said. Good. I just got out of the meeting with the president. He assigned S.H.I.E.L.D. to find the person that is a threat to national security. He had suddenly appeared on a crushed site in the middle of the Mojave Desert. According to 9. Near Vegas, said Natasha. Yes, Fury confirmed. He sent a sort of clone to LA, while the main body made its way towards Vegas. The photo on file is a match of Naruto Uzumaki. Now the two understand why Natasha was reacting that way. They had found their alien, and to make things worse, they let him get close to Tony Stark. I want you and Barton to go to Berlin. Sir, why Berlin? Isn't Naruto last spotted in Vegas? We even have a tail on him, said Barton. We don't have a tail on him anymore. The recon team lost him last night. He just suddenly vanished when he walked down the alley. Even the drone lost sight of him when the view was suddenly blocked. But why Berlin? Said Natasha. It's credit card ping at a McDonald's in Berlin an hour ago. The street camera confirmed his location there. Got it. We're on our way, said Natasha. I'm sending you the access code to his electrical file. It updates every time his identification or his card is used. The president wants him found. We have been authorized to use any resources that we need. I'll handle everything here, including the Stark situation, said Coulson. Thanks, Phil, said Natasha. As they arrived towards the S.H.I.E.L.D. office in New York, as Coulson quickly left as he made his way, leaving Barton and Natasha. What are you thinking, said Barton as he looked towards her. There's nothing that indicated that he was an alien when I met him. I should have thought about it when I got footage of his fight, she said. Don't be too hard on yourself. The event happened in New York. Who would have thought that his first stop would be to gamble in Vegas? Natasha opened her phone when she got a pain. As a look of shock come on her face. What now? He's not in Berlin anymore. According to this, he's in Moscow. As Barton slammed his hand on his head. He's gonna be even worse than you. As he looked towards her, remembering last time he had to track her down. I'm better, she said. We're gonna find him in a week, she said to him. But guys, if you end subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. And also stay tuned for those what is coming your way. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them, but I'm over for now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.